Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, Jennifer, and Carta.
That is a great name.
Thank you.
Yes. Can I call you, Says Jen in?
Says Jen in? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the first beginning of each of the...
Says Jen in? Yeah, all right,
Says
that's
Jen in,
fine.
yeah. I'm never going to call you that. So, yeah, anyway, so,
Sounds like a medication name almost. Like, try Says Jen in if you've got arthritis or whatever, I don't know, depression or something.
Yeah, if you turn into a Hulk randomly, try Says Jen
Yeah,
in.
try Says Jen in, yeah, exactly. Wow.
Are you tired of being green and angry? Yeah. Try
Yeah.
Sesgenin. Do not take Sesgenin if you're allergic to Sesgenin.
Exactly.
I always find that funny on ads for medicine where it's like, do not take this product if you're allergic to it. It's like,
wait, what? Like,
how do you know if you're allergic to it?
and why would I take it if I already do know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know, yeah.
It's like,
oh, man.
It's like, you never see that like I mean, not like they have a lot of ads for eggs anymore, but you don't ever see an egg ad, it's like, don't eat eggs if you're allergic to eggs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they say that sometimes too, like when you get like a flu shot or like even the COVID shot, I think they ask you the egg or egg products. I guess
there's something in there, yeah, some kind of
so
coagulant or something, yeah.
Interesting that they do. I'm like, no, I'm good. I eat eggs occasionally.
Yeah, my sister's deathly allergic to them.
So, oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, today on the show, folks, now that we're past our sponsors for Says Jenin, and eggs. Make sure you should try them together. Says Jenin and eggs. It's a great way to start your morning.
What the hell?
Yeah. Today we're talking about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
Yes.
Episode 1, entitled A Normal Amount of Rage. Directed by Kat Coiro and written by Jessica Gao. Yes, it's the first episode of this series that is making all of the man-children of the world upset because there's a female empowerment message within this show, and yeah, I'm tired of reading all these babies cry that are
I've avoided any
review. Yeah,
I kind of comments or videos or any. I've just.
Yeah, I just see these comments on Facebook from time to time, and I can't help them because, like, when you're scrolling through, it comes right up, and the first comment, or somebody posting in a group I belong to, like, this show's shit,
I have a long-standing, policy, even before the, I guess what I would describe as the woke wars, is just see a movie before I even read any kind of commentary on it.
Oh, no, I saw all these things after I saw it.
I'm just saying.
This week, yeah.
Like, I just don't take into consideration anything any of these people say, even before all of this kind of cultural war stuff started happening, where it's like, oh, Avengers 2012 is a terrible movie, blah, 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 because of this. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm just going to go see the movie.
Yeah.
And then if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't, whatever.
Exactly.
So So that's already been a long-standing policy of mine even before the woke wars, if you want to call it that, but especially now after the woke wars have, been going on for quite a few years at this point. At least since 2016, there was a very brief respite for a while, and then they kind of came back, in full
Yeah.
force. It is what it is. I mean, it's they'll 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 say that about anything. I mean, like before, their argument would usually be something of, well, it's because like they'll they go too far on the female empowerment where they always got to make the women seem like they're better than the men, which in this episode they kind of go that route, but like that argument kind of just falls apart when it's like anytime a woman's even in a show at all, even without that aspect, they still complain about it. So
Also based on the fact that this is how the character was in the comic books, anyways. So,
yeah,
she's always had the ability to control her powers, unlike Bruce.
yeah,
And, yeah,
it's still that's because of whatever. So
yeah.
I don't care about these people. I really don't.
No,
So
I don't either. But I just wanted to address it because
yeah.
I was just reading some comments on a Marvel group I belong to, and
Yeah.
where this guy's seen the first 4 episodes because I guess they had them like released early to some people.
Oh, okay.
For probably for reviewing purposes, but he was so misogynistic in all of his comments and saying how the show doesn't get any better. It's all just made for kids and it's not fun at all and everything. And it's just like Disney's destroying Marvel. And I was like, yeah, Disney's owned Marvel for how long now? Exactly.
And for kids, I mean,
No.
she
It's not at all. She's talking all about the whole time about Captain America's sex life. It's not made for kids at all.
And she flipped off Bruce at one point. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah. So okay,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, describe it as for kids at all, actually. But okay, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah,
maybe.
Miss Marvel, maybe, but not this.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, okay.
So, anyways, initial thoughts here. Back to that.
So, it's interesting. So, the first viewing, I watched it pretty much like as soon as it was like released on like Wednesday night or Thursday morning,
Yeah.
and I wasn't that impressed with it. But then I watched it again just about like an hour ago, and then I really liked it the second viewing. So that's like my point of view just like completely flipped,
Yeah.
changed. So I don't know if it was just because maybe the time of night, or maybe I wasn't in the right mood for it or something
Yeah.
like that.
That can always affect your opinion of something.
Of course, 'cause I was
Anybody's,
tired.
yeah.
But but no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was it was I like Marvel, kind of taking chances with going into comedy more so lately
Yeah.
over than just like really serious movies, I mean, there's always been an element of comedy within the movies, but like blatantly getting comedic has
Yeah.
been, they've been getting into that for the past 3 years or so.
Well, yeah, a little bit, and I mean they've done different things too. And I mean the thing is, people got to understand is that Marvel is not just one genre. It's several genres because you got something like a spy thriller like Winter Soldier, and you've got a flat out comedy like Ragnarok or something. You know what I mean? It's like just how they are. It's like you gotta kind of, and you got like something that's kind of horror based like Doctor Strange 2. It's like or Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, or Scarlet. Yeah, exactly. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
I just call it the Multiverse of Madness. Just,
Yeah.
Or Mom, which I think is interesting. I think that was. I don't know if that was like an intentional.
I don't know because I mean it was released Mother's Day weekend too, so it's just
that, and also because the whole thing is that she wants to be a mom to her kids. So I don't know if that was just this or if that was like a hidden little like Easter egg type of thing.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was. It probably yeah.
Because I've thought about that actually quite a bit during the last few months of yeah.
And so but yeah, I liked the show. It's got a very sitcom-y kind of feel to it to a point. You know,
Hmm.
it's more I don't know. It kind of reminds me in a way of like Ally McBeal or something. You know, maybe just the lawyer, the female lawyer aspect of it, and things of that nature. You know, trying to be a lawyer in the boys' world, from what I can tell about what future episodes will have too. But even just this episode, the dynamic between Bruce and Jen was kind of cool. I call her Jen. She's my friend. Um, Jennifer Walters.
Is she like a Facebook friend?
No, I just call
Oh,
her.
okay. Oh,
No,
I was
no, I'm just
like,
saying. I'm just joking. It's like, yeah, yeah. We're on a first name basis. Me and this fictional character.
I was
Um.
like, oh yeah, duh, that's her character's name, not the actor. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tatiana Maslany is the actress's name,
Oh,
and
okay.
her and I aren't on a first name basis.
Oh,
I
okay.
refer to her as Miss Maslany. You know, I don't. You know,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. Yeah, and I liked it better the second viewing, than the first. The first one, I thought it was good. Second one, I actually found a lot more enjoyable, like a lot more things in it that I didn't notice the first time and stuff. So in the humor specifically. So, do you want to get into what happens here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what happens?
Well, we start off with her like practicing her closing argument. Uh, for she's the prosecutor for like this against this like multinational corporation, type of deal where they abuse their power and all that kind of stuff. And then you got her paralegal, who's also a woman, is like encouraging her. But then you got the guy who's also a lawyer. He keeps telling her like smile more, and
Yeah, we've got
you know
her
uh,
the paralegal is the character's name is Nikki Ramos, played by Ginger Gonzaga, who people might know from I'm Dying Up Here. Um, she was on that. That's where I know her from because it
okay.
bothered me. I just watched that show recently, and then I'm watching this episode, and I was like, this girl looks familiar. So
Right.
yeah. We also have oh my gosh, I don't. Ooh, I don't know what the name of the male character is. He's a character from the comic books, though. Um, the paralegal is a made up character for the show, though. I will do some research on the other. So yeah, what happens then?
Well, she gets through that, and then her Nikki's like, you got this, like, you're gonna win the case or whatever, and you know, in case that doesn't work, you can always just Hulk out, so she knows, about, that she's a Hulk now. And then they're about to leave the office, and then she's like, hold on, I forgot something. Then she closed the door. She breaks the fourth wall. I think it's the first time ever in Marvel where someone has broke the fourth wall. I'm not sure, but I think it is, where she actually talks to the camera, like to us as the audience, and is like basically saying like, yeah, it's true, I'm a Hulk. And like, uh like, basically, you're not going to be able to pay attention to this thing, so until you know what else is going on, so I'll just catch you up to speed. And then it kind of goes back to the past of like the past 3 months or
Which
whatever.
which is interesting because I think this is I mean this is a touchstone of the character in the comic books. She does break the fourth wall a lot in the comics, where
Okay.
she talks to the readers and
Okay.
and does things too, like where she'll physically jump from one panel to another to transport herself places.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
and stuff like that. So it's like she knows she's in a comic book sort of thing. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
And yeah, and this is, I mean, the first time we've had like a breaking of the fourth wall in the MCU proper, besides Wanda in WandaVision, where
Oh,
she's,
that's right,
yeah,
Wanda.
because I mean, we had the whole like Modern Family type episode where she was talking to the camera and stuff. So
Oh
that's
yeah, that's
that's about
forgot
the
about.
only time I think that any characters have talked to the to the audience like this. I mean, obviously Deadpool does that, but he's not officially the MCU yet. He's
Yeah,
almost, so yeah, yeah. So
yeah. I mean, eventually he might, or at least Sony will at least release the rights to
oh,
use
oh no,
him.
oh no, no, that's a Fox thing.
Fox, sorry, Fox. Yeah.
Disney owns them now, so
Oh, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
they have the
Okay,
rights. They have the rights to Deadpool and all of the X-Men universe, which Deadpool is part of. So yeah,
gotcha. So it's only Spider-Man that they don't have the exclusive
yeah,
rights. Okay.
and all of the Spider-Man universe. Yeah,
Spider-Verse.
yeah,
So yeah, so they go into like 3 months ago she was on a road trip with Bruce, her cousin, and he's just kind of telling her stuff like about how he's got this new device that he wears on his arm that makes it so that he can stay in human form. So
yeah. An
we know
inhibitor.
why he had a sling around. What's that?
An inhibitor is what it's called. Yeah.
Inhibitor, and we know like why he had like a sling on his arm at the end of Shang-Chi is because his arm was still healing from Endgame when he did the snap, and that really damaged his arm, quite a
Yeah.
bit. So he was wearing this to just sort of keep himself in human form. But then one of those weird spaceships from Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
like just down like
What is the name? Sicarian, a spaceship. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. This was like
Yeah.
because we saw. I mean, if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, spoiler alert, but it's like 5 years old, so like whatever.
Yeah. It
Where
looks like the ship that Jeff Goldblum's character had.
Yeah, so they basically like kidnapped him before, and they basically made him like a gladiator for 2 years, like to make a bunch of money, and they just gave him like whatever he wanted, like on his downtime, like food or probably
Yeah.
sex or whatever, I don't
Which
know,
which he mentions because he says he lost 2 years of his life because he doesn't remember any of it fully.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
he stayed in that state for 2 whole years, yeah, and so for whatever reason that thing's after him again. So then she was the one that was driving, and she swerved, and they fell into the like woods and got into like a really bad car accident, and she gets out first. She's got a cut on her arm. She
But
dressed.
more importantly, right before this fell, she was talking to two things here that were really important in this scene. Is the first off is the eating Cheetos with chopsticks,
Oh yeah,
which is very important and very interesting way. There's actually a device now that I saw on Shark Tank,
yeah.
where you can put them on your these little chopstick like things that go on your like on your first two fingers and act like chopsticks. You put them on your fingers and then you can eat like snacks like while you're working on your computer or playing video games or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and your hands are free without, you can still use your hands. The things are on there, and that way you don't get, um, Cheeto dust all over your keyboard or something.
I have to
Um,
keep walking.
yeah, and
Okay.
that's the first important thing in this scene.
Okay.
Which, in my opinion, I think this whole show is just a Cheetos commercial. Um, but then, secondly, the 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 fact that she's grilling Bruce about Steve Rogers' sex life. She's obsessed with that. So this is the first instance of she's just trying to figure out if he's had sex. So yeah,
I know.
which comes into play later. But yeah, anyway, so they fall, they crash. Then what happens?
Oh, then what happens is, well, I'm kind of quite curious too. I mean, I'll get to that in a second after I just explain. So she, she's got like a cut on her arm. She gets up first. She pulls the door open. She unbuckles Bruce, carries him out of the car, and then he's kind of like in and out of consciousness. And he's like telling her like, "Stay away from me!" Like the blood, is dripping on your arm. So then like it gets into her cut. So then she ends up getting like his like radiation blood or whatever. So she kind of hulks out, but it's kind of cool because like you only see it from like the car mirror or window, so you only get like a tiny little like glimpse, kind
Yeah,
of.
it's more of the door actually. It's kind of like a distorted reflection too. So it's kind
Yeah,
of yeah.
yeah, it was a door. That's right.
Hmm.
And then she just kind of like you hear like a growling sound, and then like running, and then she wakes up in the woods. But the other point I was gonna make was, you know, why didn't the spaceship just end up following the car
Mm.
crash after like were they just intentionally just trying to cause a car crash? Like, you know what I mean?
And
Like
maybe they weren't after Bruce. Maybe
or yeah,
maybe that ship was
they're
just randomly there. But my thing is if it's flying around, it should know that it shouldn't be flying that low on top of a highway, or a
yeah.
road or
So
whatever
I
that
don't.
is. Yeah. So,
We'll probably find out. There's probably a
hmm.
reason for that.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce even said there's probably some kind of he's
Yeah.
got to get to the bottom of that, whatever
Yeah.
that was about. So, so yeah, so that's our her. So in the comics, it's because she got shot, and then Bruce had to give her emergency blood transfusion, and then that's what made her into like She-Hulk. But
Yeah.
in this case, it's just literally like well, I guess you could call it a blood
Yeah, I was gonna say
transfusion.
it's still technically a blood transfusion,
It's
but
just not in the way
yeah,
of like her losing blood. It was an open wound, you know.
it's more like when you were a blood brother with your friend when you were a kid and you
Yeah,
pricked your finger and you.
I remember. Oh God, I remember the panic from parents about that. Like, "They're AIDS, they're gonna give each
Yeah,
other AIDS." Remember that
I,
whole
I I
thing?
never did that with anybody, but I
Oh,
remember
me
hearing
neither.
about
Just
it. So
like,
yeah,
why would you do that? Like, that's just like dangerous as fuck.
yeah,
But like, because even if it's not AIDS, it could be any other disease or whatever. Like, yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
plus two, cut yourself. Why? Anyway,
exactly. That
so
was my main. I just hated needles. So
well, of course, dude, I don't like bleeding. I don't like cutting myself. But anyway, I did used to like to put indentate. I know it's a weird tangent. I did used to like to put indentations into like my was it my hand? I don't even remember where it was somewhere like my hand or my fingers or something. I don't remember. But just weird stuff like that. But and yeah, she kind of goes off in the woods. She wakes up. She's back to, her human form. She hears the subtitle said she hears pop music in the background because I watch shows with the closed captions
yeah, me
on.
too.
By the way, is what you got me into. By the way, so I blame you for this. No, not really. Because ever since you showed me the first episode of Arrow, then literally after that, that's when I started watching everything with closed captions on.
Yeah, I.
'Cause I never did that before, and then,
Mhm. I can't not do it. I mean,
yeah,
I
I
feel
can't anymore.
I feel weird when I'm in a movie theater and I'm like, can somebody turn the captions on to this?
No,
No, no.
seriously, I can't. And like at first, like people say, like, well, if you do that, you miss important things. But like, no, my eyes have gotten used to being able to move back and forth, or up and down
But
to.
it's come in
Uh,
handy a lot of times because there's so many times in movies or TV shows where like the background noise is too loud and you can't hear what the person is saying.
yeah,
And if you have the captions on, you're like, oh, that's what she said, and especially when you're at home and you're watching something and streaming, you can just rewind it too, like and it's like if you thought you missed something on the visuals of it, so yeah, it's not a
yeah,
big
and
deal.
plus too, I like to watch things, up late at night, so I don't want the TV blaring,
Yeah,
super loud. So, but anyway, I said pop music, nearby. So, she walks by and there's like a bar kind of place. And so she goes in the bathroom. She's got like, leaves all over her clothes and she's got like cuts all over her face and her hands. And all these women, they come in and they, basically take care of her, you know, which is like, like the guy from Screen Crush was saying, like Ryan Airy was saying, is this how like all women's bathrooms are? Like just like people being like very supportive of each other. Like that just sounds like really cool,
yeah,
like
I know.
it's like I wish men's bathrooms are like that. It's usually just like literally a pissing contest. Like, like fuck you, bro. It's like I hate urinals because they seem very barbaric. Like we're just whipping out our member and just peeing. Like
Yeah.
what? Like I don't know. Just that's a whole other thing. But like
I wish I could remember the name of the actress, but there's actually one of my Facebook friends was one of the women in that scene. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
I
she's like an actress down in Atlanta area. So yeah,
okay.
yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So like, she's like, I need to
mm,
call my cousin to pick me up, and like, can I borrow someone's phone? And like, they all like offer her their
yeah,
like, that was just really cute and interesting. They kind of give her like a fur coat to wear,
yeah.
and then like goes outside and these guys start catcalling her and like, oh, I just want to talk to you, baby, and all this kind of stuff. So then you know, she hulks out and just like like punches them or whatever, and
Well,
then
I don't even know if she touched them. I think she just hawked out, and then
oh, okay.
Bruce came in and saved her.
Oh, is that
Um,
what happened? Okay.
yeah, um,
And,
because he stopped her,
oh,
but because that's one of the things that because shortly after that she's talking about how she can handle the transformations because she's had to deal with, you know, people picking on her and being mean to her and people being misogynistic and everything her whole life, so she's able to deal with anger better than, somebody that had like childhood trauma like Bruce did. um but
not true though, because she did hulk out right at that moment.
yeah,
So
but I think she chose to do it because she's able to choose.
oh,
um because he did it when he got angry, whereas
oh, I
she has control over it. um but people were complaining and saying that she almost killed these guys and now she's talking about feminism.
oh my god.
That
Oh
was
my
one of the
god,
comments I read today, and I'm like,
dude, it's a TV show. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
okay, well, all right, let's play that argument. So, Avengers 2012, the Hulk literally terrorized the entire city.
exactly.
Or was it Infinity War? I don't remember which one.
But whatever, he's done it. He's done it several times in different movies, and
Like literally,
yeah,
Tony had to build a suit that was basically like
mm.
an iron version of like the Hulk, like to be as big as he is, and like
I mean,
punch him and
you
like
go back to the Ed Norton Hulk movie, which is technically part of this continuity. I mean, the character's just recast.
hmm.
Um, he basically destroyed Harlem.
Oh wow.
So in that movie, he had the big fight with Abomination and almost destroyed all of Harlem. So of course he he destroyed all these
But
small businesses and stuff, and
since she may have hurt, three guys who
Mhm.
catcalled her,
Yeah.
that's the first thing. Which again just proves the point
Mm.
of the show that she's making right there, that she may have, punched a few guys and that's the worst thing ever. But the Hulk can literally destroy an entire city and that's totally fine. So it's
Yeah.
like
But
your
but
reaction
but but
to it,
to be fair, Harlem was shot in Toronto, so
well,
I was on the set, so um
okay, well, whatever. Were you?
yeah, I was up in I was in Toronto staying there the week that one not the week that they were filming because they were filming for weeks, but one of the weeks they were filming there. And you go down Yonge Street in Toronto and they put fake facades in front of all these buildings to make it look like Harlem.
Wow.
So like there was a fake Apollo Theater in front of like this business or whatever, like some restaurant or something, and all these other different things. And they had signs during the day that would say the name of the real place and says, "Yeah, we're open, these hours or whatever," so you could go in and have food at these restaurants or shops or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So, so the 2008 Hulk film is actually then canon within the MCU.
yeah, because it's because Edward Norton was supposed to be the Hulk continuing, but
Okay.
then they had a falling out him and Marvel because
Oh,
he had a lot of control over the script for the Incredible Hulk and stuff, and they were afraid to give him too much control, and I think there were some money issues and stuff too.
hmm.
Um, and Edward Norton has even admitted this, that he's a difficult person to work with. Not
Oh, I
not
see.
not not in like a bad way, but he's just very into his art, and it's kind of hard for him to separate when he's in a character and stuff like that. And he probably never wanted to be a long-term superhero or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. That's like actually canon because I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Um,
because I mean Thunderbolt Ross is in that movie, and it's the same actor. that William Hurt, who just passed away recently, and he continues in future installments of the MCU.
Right, like in Civil War and
Yeah.
okay, cool. Um, so what else happens after she hulks out on these guys or whatever? And
So Bruce whisks her away, um, as you do. Um, they they end up in Mexico on an island where Bruce wakes her up and lets her know that he wakes her up with a air horn, like you do to people, and bust their eardrums and stuff.
well, that was actually after.
Oh, was that? Oh, yeah, that was the next day. I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's all right.
Yeah, but anyways, um, she wakes up. Yeah, that's right. She wakes up on her own and realizes that she's somewhere she doesn't know where she is, and she finds Bruce down in the basement laboratory, or he comes up and gets her. I can't remember which. Um, he has this laboratory that Tony built for him before he died to help them try to figure out ways to solve and integrate himself with the Hulk and things of that nature. So he's got his own little Mexican laboratory, The lab, he's back to being the Hulk at this point, because the inhibitor is broken. He does let her know that the inhibitor was specifically calibrated to him and that he couldn't just make one for her right now,
Right, and did he make that, or did Tony make that for him?
I think he and Tony devised it, or
Okay.
something, yeah. Or just, he had the laboratory, because he did say that, a lot of the times when they were there, Tony was just getting drunk and listening to music and stuff. So
And
yeah, and complaining. um the other thing I think is interesting too is I think that Tony had to have stayed there a lot, because all the clothes that Bruce and Jen have on are like rock band t-shirts and stuff, like Led Zeppelin and Nirvana Nevermind shirt and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Tony was really into rock music, so
Right, yeah.
I think that's kind of their way of giving us a nod to the fact that Tony's still in their hearts, sort of thing, so
Yeah. Bruce kind of, every time he talked about Tony, kind of looked sad and stuff like that. And
yeah. So the lab also serves as this way to control the Hulk. So Bruce put Jen in a cage to trigger her Hulkism, with these hacksaws coming at her and stuff. Like, there's got to be a better way.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, she was suggesting that he just play some Pixar movies so she can get her anxiety up.
Was it, what movie was it? What, Bing Bong?
It's just talking about Inside Out, where there's a character of Bing Bong who dies in the movie, and
isn't he like an imaginary friend or something like that? I never actually saw that movie. But
oh, you should. It's so good.
I know, everyone keeps telling me I should.
Oh my God. I love that movie. Made me cry. Anyway, so like most Pixar movies did.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bawling like about 5 minutes into Up. So but anyway, she ends up like destroying like $1 million millions of dollars worth of equipment there, because she hulks out, because she's getting angry because chainsaws are coming at her, or bandsaws or whatever are coming at her face, so it's like
right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So then we have like these we find out that she's able to control her powers and that she's integrated already. Like, she doesn't need to go through. He's got like this like syllabus basically of like things to do to help train her, and we find out that she doesn't really need the first half of the training because she's already integrated. So but she does still need some training, and they they start to do like meditation to control anger and fear, and strength training by throwing boulders. Um, and then they go to this bar that Tony and Bruce made, and realize that they can get the buzz and not get totally drunk. She
Yeah,
she
because he
still
was
does get a
like,
hangover though, so I don't know, but
yeah, because he was like, he's saying, I've only been telling you the
mm.
downsides of being the Hulk, but there's actually a few upsides,
Mm.
and they can metabolize alcohol at an extremely fast rate. So, you know, but yeah, you're right. Why have the hangover then? That doesn't make any sense. But
No,
so I don't know about that one. But yeah, then the air horde thing happens though too, and like you mentioned, where
yeah,
he just like blows it in their ear. Which again, I hate it when movies do that. I'm like, don't give anyone ideas. You can literally deafen someone by
I know.
doing.
I see it all the time in sitcoms and movies
Mhm.
and stuff, and I mean, it was used like a lot of times in like these Disney and Nickelodeon like kids shows too and stuff, and I'm like, this is just
I
wrong.
know. I was like, come on, guys, don't do that.
um,
He hulks out and breaks her bed basically because of that,
yeah.
and
Then what happens here?
uh, let's see. After that, he's he was trying to teach her was it called dialectical behavior therapy or DBT?
Yeah,
She didn't really want to do that because she thought that she'd already mastered that through like yoga and stuff, like which it's not really the same thing, but like
yeah,
so he's kind of teaching her like yoga and stuff, but of course, she's doing it better than he is because she already practices yoga, and he's kind of getting pissed off at the things that she's better at than he is because he had to like train to do all this stuff, and so I can sort of see why the man babies are mad about this. Not justifying it, but I understand. I could get into their thought processes, um, which is like basically going through the slime trail, but like where they're like, oh, you see, like what would like in like the new modern movies, like a man has to like do all this hard work, to get where he's at, but they're like, oh, the women are just like magic and they can just like do whatever without even trying, and it's like okay, like calm down, guys, like
yeah.
calm down, Jordan Peterson. Like,
She already went
clean.
through this stuff before she was a Hulk. So,
I know that, but I'm just going through
yeah,
their.
no, I
I
know.
can, I can get into their minds, or at least their thought process, and know exactly why they get so angry about these things because
Yeah,
because they're very insecure, and that's kind of that's where it comes from. So
it's because they can't deal with progression, and they can't deal with the fact that they think that something might be different in the world. It's like they
or
just
if
don't
someone just
understand
might be better than
change.
them, or a
Yeah.
woman might be better than them at something. Which again, it kind of goes against their whole ethos, though, too, because part of their ethos, which comes from Jordan Peterson, because he's kind of like their daddy, is that it's all
I'm,
about self improvement and bettering yourself. And it's like,
mm,
okay, well, if you find out sorry, my voice just cracked. If you find out that someone's better than you at something, don't complain and moan about it. Better yourself so then you can be better than that
mhm.
person, but
It's like I think we addressed this thing decades ago with the musical "Annie Get Your Gun" with the song "Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better." Um,
and
just
that was also probably the wolf.
problematic at the
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
that was probably, yeah, because people complained about that.
Hmm.
So anyway, but the thing is though, she already practices yoga, so she was able to already know like the positions and things like that. Um, so he's kind of getting a little bit jealous because of the fact that a lot of the stuff comes natural to her, and he had to like work on this for like 15 years basically. Um,
Yeah,
because
and they end up fighting a lot too.
well, because she wants to just be done
Yeah.
with it
Hmm.
and doesn't want to train. That typical thing.
part of me thinks too. I think Bruce is lonely, so he just like likes having his cousin hang out with him. So he's kind of like,
Yeah, well, because yeah, he
hmm
stays there by himself. I mean,
yeah,
and you know, it's nice to have. He's probably older than she is
yeah,
too, so it's kind of nice to have someone younger, where it feels like you can impart knowledge to, because it kind
yeah,
of makes you feel like you're old and wizened or whatever, type of thing. Like, that aspect. Plus two, having someone who's not just your friend, but someone who's related to you, like
yeah,
especially cousins. I mean,
hmm
unfortunately, I don't really know my cousins very much, which kind of
yeah,
makes me sad. But like, there's like, I don't know, there's certain kind of like special bond, like when it comes to like cousins, because they're like separated by just like one thing, but like
yeah.
they're not your sibling, but they're like just the next thing over, and it's like, I don't know, there's just something interesting about that. But that's a whole other topic, though. I wish, maybe I'll try to contact them more and get to know them better. 'Cause it's, yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But that's sorry, I'm just like putting in my own personal thoughts here. But like,
We'll save that for a
uh,
very special episode of All Too Real
yeah,
too.
yeah, very
But
special. All two cousin. No, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. but but yeah. I forgot what happens after that when they do the
um,
yoga.
they like they have a little blowout basically, and then at one point they break the bar, they rebuild the bar,
Hmm.
um, and she carves her name in it, or her not her name but her initials because
Just like Tony did.
Tony and Bruce had before.
Yeah.
Um, after this is all going on, she ends up taking Bruce's Jeep after he finally lets her. And she drives back to the city of Los Angeles from Mexico there. And then we're out of the flashback that we had started at the beginning of the episode. And now we see Jennifer in court trying to get ready to give a closing argument in a lawsuit, um, basically the one that she was practicing at the beginning of the episode.
Hmm.
And the moment she's about to speak, we get interrupted by Jamila Jamil. People would know from The Good Place
Hmm.
as Titania. Or yeah, that's right, Titania. Um,
Yeah.
who is a character from the comic books who has like super strength as well. Um, she starts smashing up the courtroom, and then Nikki, Jen's best friend and the paralegal, insists that she bring out She-Hulk to save the day because Nikki knows about her being She-Hulk, and Jen's kind of reluctant to do that and doesn't want to do it at first, and she's like, "I really like this outfit, because it's gonna
Yeah. No.
basically that," and then um, and so her friend tells her to take her shoes off because she doesn't want to destroy the shoes.
Yeah.
So she takes that off, and then she hulks out, and there's a little, I think, lackluster fight scene between Titania and her. That was my
Yeah.
one. That was my one major complaint about this episode. I think the fight scene could have been a little better there.
Well, what I'm hoping about that, I share your feelings about that, but what I'm hoping about that is that this is not going to be like the end of that conflict.
Oh, I'm
Because
sure.
I mean,
I'm sure it's not because you don't cast somebody like Jamila Jamil in the role if you're going to have her in one episode.
or for like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
So
where
like
she doesn't even really
literally,
talk.
she tried to do a jump kick
Hmm.
at Jen, and then Jen just punches her through, and
Yeah.
then she gets passed out, and then the cops or whatever arrest, handcuff, which
Hmm.
is weird. Well, what are they gonna do? I mean, they don't have any powers, but like,
Yeah.
but so I'm like, that better not be like a trick role where they just casted her as like a fake out character, like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes
Yeah.
shows and movies do that now, where they'll pretend to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
hope that she comes back. I mean, there's no point in having somebody of that name caliber in a small role for 30 seconds in an episode. So.
I
It's like,
wonder if this is gonna be
hmm.
again with the whole thing with like the creation of the Thunderbolts
Yeah.
team. If she might be being recruited, at some point, or because there's
Yeah.
been theories that Abomination might be
I'm
recruit. I hope not, because
I'm sure we're gonna see something though in this season before it ends of her like breaking out of jail or something
yeah,
and
and I hope that
and Jennifer
Abomination.
having to take over and catch her or something.
Yeah, I mean, she probably will. I mean, come on. And then, I mean, I know they got these prisons now that are meant for like quote enhanced individuals, but
Yeah.
uh, I mean, they, Najwa was able to break out, of
Oh
you
yeah.
know Marvel, so you know, but like I'm really hoping that Abomination isn't going to join the Thunderbolts because they've been teasing this whole idea that Wong has sort of been like reforming him and like teaching him like how to be a better person and stuff. So I hope like they're not just going to undo all of that and just have him join the Thunderbolts, So,
Yeah, and I
but
mean I do know that um from what I've heard about future episodes that have been released already to some critics and stuff, I mean, with none of them have given any spoilers or anything, but they do say that the show has kind of a serialized underneath story, but it also has where there's like something that a continuing story that goes underneath. But they
Mhm.
do have like episodic episodes where it's basically um, Jennifer defending people with superpowers each week.
Yeah, I seen like in the trailer
So
even.
we'll see other people. So my feeling on it is maybe with him in it that she might be defending him or using him as a Hannibal Lecter sort of character where he can help her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Help her
no,
see into the mind of villains and stuff. Um, that's where I would go with it if I was writing it. But
yeah.
anyways, the way before we get any further in speculation or anything, the way it ends here is that they have this fight. They take Titania away, and and then first she says to Titania asks who she is, and she's like, "I'm Jennifer Walters, attorney at law," and which was the cheesiest part of the whole episode. Um,
No, but I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it on the second viewing, but when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, cringe." And but the um, the but and then she goes back to being Jen, and she says, "I'm ready to give my closing arguments," and that's how the episode ends.
I love that.
But
He's like, I'm not.
then we do have a a mid credits scene. So
Yeah.
yeah, which was great, where it's she's pretending to be drunk at the bar with Bruce, and
Mhm.
basically gets him to admit that Steve Rogers um, had sex while he was on the USO tour in the 40s.
He said to some girl, like he didn't
Yeah,
say it was didn't say it was Peggy or
yeah, because I don't think it was Peggy because that was before he met Peggy.
oh it was? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it was probably
Uh
one of the USO girls, like the dancers in the
yeah.
show.
And plus because she was crying, so she was like saying it was so sad that he
Yeah,
so that ass because
yeah,
it goes
as a
back to
call
Endgame
back. Yeah,
that he's America's ass, stuff like that. So like, you know, that ass didn't deserve to die of her shit, which is weird. So she doesn't know that Steve. I guess Bruce didn't tell her that
no,
he.
nobody knows.
Oh, nobody, but
I mean, I know,
him
obviously Bucky and Sam know, but
and Bruce knows, but no one
yeah,
else.
and I think that they just wanted to keep it quiet and make it so
Okay, gotcha.
you know, um, so nobody could try to build a time machine and go back and fuck with Steve or anything.
Why would they assume that he died though? Because he didn't die in the battle. So why would they assume that?
They probably
Whatever.
just said that he did, that he disappeared or
Oh,
something.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But yeah, and then that scene ends with her saying, Captain America, and then it cuts off before she
So
says,
Captain America fucked, but then
yeah,
it stopped right
yeah,
as she said fuck.
hmm
So again, you're saying this is a show for kids? I don't know about
exactly.
that.
I think
Like
this guy's on something that's saying this.
she flipped in the bird and they actually showed it when he pushed her off a cliff. And then when when Bruce pushed her off a cliff for
Yeah.
being sarcastic, and then she almost said "fuck" at the end of the episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, not for kids at all. Maybe late
Teenagers.
teens, like
Yeah.
16, 17, maybe, but like definitely not for like 13-year-olds or anything like that. But
It's
you
definitely
know,
like TV PG whatever, something, it's not like TVG or anything. Um
out like
yeah.
TV Y17 is what they used to call it, or something, or
Well,
I don't remember.
I think like I think that would apply to like Miss Marvel, not this.
Oh, I
This
see.
would probably be PG in my opinion because
Okay.
there's some I do think that there could have been a little bit more violence in certain scenes, like in the scene with the car crash, but I understand that they had to
Yeah.
cut back on the blood, but it was still, you know, it just seemed a little hollow to me in that scene, but that's my only like. I've got a few criticisms because I really like the episode, but I can see what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Um, and not call it crap and say it's for kids and stuff.
Right.
But yeah. Any speculation here?
Like for next episode.
Yeah, like where do you think the show's gonna
Um,
go, or do you think it'll
well,
just?
now
Yeah,
everyone knows, that she's a Hulk, so I guess that's definitely going to change some things. So, um, I'm guessing that she's going to probably face a lot of prejudice at first. From her colleagues, or at least most of them.
yeah,
Maybe even the jury, and then maybe that's what will lead to her specializing in defending, enhanced individuals.
yeah. Because right now she's
Uh,
working with the district attorney's office and not
So,
as a defendant. So
I don't know if she's gonna get fired, or they're just
mhm.
gonna transfer her over, or if she's got, some secret governmental contract, type of thing to work, exclusively with, enhanced individuals. That's like their new name, I guess, for these people. But
Yeah,
uh, so I don't know. I heard that there's gonna be 9 episodes
is there?
for this. Or is there another show that's gonna have 9 episodes? I don't remember. Maybe not. Well, I don't know, because this show was only like a half hour long, so it might, like, WandaVision had 9 episodes, but they were shorter.
Yeah,
So
this could
and
too.
I kind of like that actually better than the 6 episode, um, thing that they've been doing for a while. I think
Because that didn't seem like enough episodes.
even if those episodes are longer, I still think having shorter episodes but more episodes still feels like it's more, even if it still amounts to the same amount of time. It just feels, I don't know how to explain it. Like, maybe
Yeah,
they get more.
I looked it up. It is 9 episodes
It is all
for
right.
She-Hulk.
Nice,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
All right, cool.
So that'll be fun.
So that's all I've got for
Yeah,
speculation.
me too. I mean, I don't have anything else really. It'll be just interesting to see where they go with Abomination when he comes in, and I know Daredevil's going to show up at some point, so that'll be interesting to see too. With him
Yeah,
being a lawyer as well, I wonder if he's going to show up just as Daredevil or as an attorney as well.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Any final thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No, just I would just recommend watching it. And if you didn't like it the first time, I would recommend watching it the second time, like I did, because
Yeah,
I liked it the second time. So, but that's just me.
yeah,
Um,
I agree. I think it's better on a second viewing for some reason. Um, anyways, we'll talk to you more about this next week. Until then, be good to each other and
mhm.
check out our T Public. Check out our social medias, all of them. Check out, all2real2.com for anything. You can also check out our Patreon. Um, anything else? I posted a picture up on Instagram recently of Matt's comic book that he got from his doctor that we talked about in a previous episode.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
so you can check that out on our Instagram. Be sure to subscribe there. Um, share the show with your friends. Tell somebody to listen. Remember that I love you and Sesame loves you.
Yep.
And until next time, bye bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.